What if everything you know is just the surface of a much darker, stranger reality? This story will take you on a thrilling journey through 14 mind-bending theories that could change the way you see the world forever. Are we living in a simulation? Is the Earth hiding secrets beneath its surface? Prepare to question everything, because you might just be living in the middle of one of these incredible truths. Which theory will you believe? Theory 1. Adrenochrome harvesting, the elixir of the elite? There are whispers of a scary, dark conspiracy that might be the most disturbing thing you've heard. Adrenochrome harvesting, a theory so chilling it sounds torn from the pages of a horror novel, alleges that the global elite are engaged in a secret practice of extracting a substance from the blood of terrified children. The reason? To stay youthful, gain supernatural powers, or perhaps something even darker. Adrenochrome, a chemical compound that does exist in scientific circles, has taken on a mythical status in the world of conspiracy theories. To believers, it's not just a byproduct of adrenaline, it's an elixir of life, a fountain of youth coveted by the rich and powerful. But according to this theory, it's not just adrenaline that's needed, it's the adrenaline produced under extreme fear and trauma. The allegations are stark and horrifying. Secret facilities where children are held captive, their terror harvested to create this precious substance. The elite, theorists claim, use this adrenochrome not only to maintain their youth and vitality, but also to cement their control over global systems. It's not just a quest for eternal life, it's a demonstration of their power and detachment from morality. While the idea of harvesting fear sounds implausible to many, believers argue that there's a chilling pattern in global events. They point to media and entertainment, where themes of child abduction, rituals, and secret cabals are disturbingly frequent. Are these just fictional tales, or is Hollywood hiding the truth in plain sight? Some adherents link the theory to real-life child trafficking rings, arguing that these crimes are not just for exploitation, but part of a larger, more insidious industry. High-profile figures, politicians, celebrities, and business magnates are often implicated by theorists who see their power and privilege as shields against scrutiny. Could these elites really be part of a shadowy network orchestrating horrors for their own benefit? Even symbols and phrases are dissected by believers for hidden meanings. References to youthful energy or jokes about staying young forever are interpreted as veiled nods to adrenochrome use. When high-profile scandals involving elite circles emerge, they're seen not as isolated incidents, but as cracks in the facade, glimpses of a monstrous reality lurking beneath. To the theorists, adrenochrome harvesting is the ultimate taboo, an act so dark and depraved that it could only exist in the shadows of society's highest echelons. Whether it's whispered about in secret meetings or hidden behind the glitz and glamour of elite gatherings, the belief persists. Someone, somewhere, is trading in fear and blood. In this world, innocence is currency, fear is a commodity, and the ultimate prize is immortality. Adrenochrome harvesting may sound like the stuff of nightmares, but for those who believe, it's a chilling possibility that refuses to be dismissed. Theory 2. Denver Airport as Illuminati headquarters. A portal to the apocalypse? Welcome to Denver International Airport, a sprawling structure cloaked in mystery, intrigue, and shadowy whispers. For many travelers, it's just an airport, a gateway to the skies. But for conspiracy theorists, it's something far more sinister. The nerve center of the Illuminati, a secret society that allegedly manipulates global events from the shadows. The clues, they say, are everywhere if you know where to look. Let's start with the sheer size of DIA. Spanning 33,000 acres, it's the largest airport in North America, dwarfing even the busiest global hubs. Critics have long questioned why such an enormous facility was necessary, especially when Denver already had a functioning airport. The official explanation points to future-proofing and growth, but for conspiracy theorists, the vast expanse isn't just for planes, it's for bunkers. Hidden deep beneath the surface, they believe, lies a sprawling network of underground tunnels and shelters designed to house the world's elite in the event of a global catastrophe. The airport's construction itself fuels the flames of speculation. Completed in 1995, DIA ran $2 billion over budget, a staggering overage. Where did all that money go? Some say it funded the subterranean complex, complete with living quarters, advanced technology, and even command centers. Rumors persist of workers being sworn to secrecy or mysteriously disappearing after construction, their knowledge buried along with the project. Above ground, the airport's art and architecture add to the mystique. Visitors are greeted by a 32-foot-tall blue horse statue, nicknamed Lucifer by locals. With its glowing red eyes and eerily aggressive stance, the sculpture seems more suited to a nightmare than an airport welcome. Its creator, artist Luis Jimenez, died in a freak accident during its construction, fueling whispers that the statue is cursed. Inside the terminal, murals by artist Leo Tanguma depict apocalyptic and dystopian scenes. One panel shows a soldier in a gas mask wielding a saber, surrounded by weeping children and crumbling cities. Another features animals and humans emerging from chaos into peace. Officials insist the murals symbolize themes of war, peace, and environmental harmony, but theorists argue they reveal a darker narrative, a coded warning of the Illuminati's plans for global domination and rebirth. Even the airport's dedication plaque raises eyebrows. It bears a Masonic square and compass symbol and credits the New World Airport Commission, an organization that doesn't appear to exist. The phrase New World is enough to send theorists into a frenzy, connecting it to the Illuminati's alleged goal of establishing a new world order. The Freemason symbol adds another layer, linking the airport to one of history's most famous secret societies. Then there's the matter of strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena. Some employees have reported hearing ghostly whispers in empty corridors or seeing shadowy figures darting through restricted areas. Others claim to have witnessed bizarre construction projects underway at odd hours, with no clear explanation. Could these be ordinary quirks of a massive facility, or signs of something more clandestine? For believers, Denver International Airport isn't just Illuminati HQ. It's a hub of activity for a global conspiracy. Its location in the middle of the U.S. makes it a strategic refuge in a doomsday scenario. Its sprawling grounds, mysterious art, and cryptic symbols weave a story that's almost too wild to ignore. Theory 3. The Hollow Earth. Worlds beneath our feet? Could the world we live on be only a shell, hiding vast secrets deep within? The Hollow Earth theory proposes that our planet isn't a solid sphere, but a hollow structure housing advanced civilizations, unimaginable creatures, and perhaps even a hidden paradise. For centuries, this idea has ignited the imaginations of explorers, writers, and conspiracy theorists alike. The concept of a hollow Earth dates back to ancient mythologies. Many cultures tell tales of subterranean realms, from the Norse legend of Svartalfheim to the Buddhist belief in Shambhala. But the modern theory took shape in the 17th century when Edmund Halley, the same Halley of comet fame, suggested that the Earth could consist of multiple concentric shells with vast spaces between them. He even theorized that luminous gases might light these inner worlds, creating habitable environments. By the 19th century, adventurers began to speculate wildly about what lay beneath. Some pointed to Agartha, a mythical kingdom said to exist deep within the Earth. According to the legend, Agartha is a utopia of advanced beings who possess technology far beyond our comprehension. Some even claim these inhabitants occasionally surface to influence human events, their presence whispered about in the corridors of power. The most tantalizing twist? The idea that there are entrances to this hidden world. Enthusiasts of the Hollow Earth theory point to specific locations that might serve as portals: the poles. Both the Arctic and Antarctic have been shrouded in mystery for centuries, their harsh climates and remote geography making them virtually impenetrable. Some conspiracy theorists claim that government agencies fiercely guard these regions to prevent the discovery of hidden passageways. The 20th century saw a revival of the Hollow Earth theory, fueled by stories of explorers like Admiral Richard A. Byrd. In his alleged diary, Byrd recounts a secret mission to the North Pole where he stumbled upon an entrance to an underground realm. He describes lush, green landscapes populated by strange, highly intelligent beings who spoke telepathically. Critics dismiss the diary as a hoax, but true believers hold it as one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the hollow Earth. Then there are the anomalies. Why? They ask, do seismic waves sometimes behave unpredictably when traveling through the Earth? Could this be evidence of vast cavities below the crust? And what about the strange sounds, low-frequency hums and booms that have been reported worldwide? Are they echoes from a hidden world beneath our feet? For skeptics, the hollow Earth is pure fantasy, debunked by centuries of geological science. Yet for others, it remains an irresistible mystery. After all, the Earth's mantle and core remain largely inaccessible and poorly understood. If there is indeed a subterranean utopia, or something far more sinister, will we even be able to reach it? Or perhaps the question isn't about getting in, but keeping something from getting out. Theory 4. Project Blue Beam, the Grand Illusion. Imagine the sky lighting up with dazzling, otherworldly figures. Massive spacecraft descend, shimmering with an ethereal glow as the world stares upward in disbelief. News channels blare with reports of alien beings communicating through impossible technologies, promising peace or threatening annihilation. Chaos erupts as governments unite under a single banner to protect humanity, creating a new global authority. But what if this awe-inspiring event isn't the arrival of extraterrestrial life? What if it's all a lie, a masterstroke of deception known as Project Blue Beam? The theory of Project Blue Beam, attributed to investigative journalist Serge Monast, suggests that NASA and shadowy global elites are preparing the ultimate hoax, a fake alien invasion. Using advanced holographic technology and electromagnetic frequencies, they aim to trick humanity into surrendering its freedom. The goal? To establish a new world order, one unified government with absolute power over a frightened, manipulated populace. This is no ordinary conspiracy. Project Blue Beam is a spectacle of global theater, combining cutting-edge science with ancient psychology. Imagine the holograms, detailed, realistic projections of UFOs or divine figures, appearing simultaneously in the skies over New York, Tokyo, Paris, and beyond. These aren't crude images, but breathtaking illusions so vivid that even the most skeptical observers might question reality. Some versions of the theory go further, claiming these projections could mimic religious icons tailored to each culture: Jesus Christ in the West, Krishna in India, or Buddha in the East. The implication is chilling. These apparitions would confirm sacred prophecies, compelling billions to obey what appears to be divine will. Faith weaponized, belief hijacked. Could anything be more insidious? Skeptics scoff, of course. How could NASA pull off such an audacious stunt? But whispers of advanced holographic capabilities have been circulating for years. Military technology, far ahead of what the public sees, might already include holograms capable of fooling not just the eye but radar and infrared detection. What about the mysterious sky sounds reported globally? Unexplained trumpet-like noises that some theorists link to early tests of blue beam technology. Then there's the psychological aspect. A global crisis of this magnitude would trigger mass fear, making people desperate for safety. History shows that in times of fear, populations are willing to trade liberty for security. A staged alien invasion would justify draconian laws, biometric surveillance, and perhaps even mandatory identification implants, all under the guise of protecting humanity from an existential threat. But is Project Blue Beam real? Or is it itself a smokescreen, a distraction from other clandestine activities? That's the brilliance of a good conspiracy. You can never be sure where the truth ends and the illusion begins. Theory 5. 5G and mind control. The rollout of 5G was heralded as the next great leap in connectivity, promising lightning-fast internet and seamless communication. But beneath the buzz of technological innovation lies a darker, more sinister narrative. The belief that 5G is not just a telecommunications upgrade, but a weapon of unprecedented power. Could those sleek towers be tools of control, quietly manipulating thoughts, emotions, and even health? The idea isn't as outlandish as it seems, at least not at first glance. Electromagnetic frequencies have long been studied for their effects on the human brain. Low-frequency waves, for instance, can influence sleep patterns and mood. High-frequency waves can heat tissues, which is why your microwave works. What if 5G, operating at a frequency range far higher than its predecessors, is capable of far more? What if it can penetrate the mind itself? Some theorists claim that 5G towers are part of a grand experiment in mass manipulation. These devices, they say, could broadcast subliminal messages directly into our subconscious, nudging us toward compliance. Imagine waking up one day with a sudden urge to buy a certain product, vote for a particular politician, or accept policies you would have otherwise questioned. Would you know if these thoughts were truly your own? Others take the theory further, linking 5G to physical illness. The COVID-19 pandemic, for example, has been tied to 5G in some conspiracy circles. They argue that the virus's spread conveniently coincided with the installation of 5G infrastructure, suggesting a connection. Could the towers be weakening immune systems, making populations more susceptible to viruses? Or, more chillingly, could they be triggering symptoms that mimic illness, creating the illusion of a pandemic to justify lockdowns and surveillance? Mainstream science dismisses these claims, asserting that 5G operates within safe radiation levels. But isn't that what they'd say if they wanted to keep the truth hidden? Studies on the long-term effects of 5G are scarce, and even legitimate scientists acknowledge that more research is needed. For the conspiracy-minded, this lack of clarity is proof of a cover-up. There's also the question of intent. Who benefits from a population made docile by invisible signals? Look to the usual suspects: multinational corporations, governments seeking tighter control, and tech giants with access to unfathomable amounts of data. In this scenario, 5G becomes the perfect tool for a surveillance state, a web of invisible frequencies linking every device, every action, and every thought. And then there's the DARPA connection. The U.S. Department of Defense's research arm has been exploring brain-computer interfaces for years. Officially, these are intended for medical and military applications, but conspiracy theorists suggest a darker agenda. What if 5G isn't just about downloading movies faster, but about uploading your mind into a system where your thoughts are no longer private? Theory 6. Mandela Effect as evidence of parallel universes. A glimpse into the multiverse? Have you ever found yourself absolutely convinced of a fact, only to discover that reality disagrees? You're not alone. This unsettling phenomenon is known as the Mandela Effect, named after countless people mistakenly recalling that Nelson Mandela died in prison during the 1980s, when in reality, he passed away in 2013. But what if these discrepancies aren't just misremembered details? What if they're evidence of parallel universes bleeding into ours? For believers, the Mandela Effect is not about poor memory, it's about something far more profound. They argue that these collective false memories point to shifts between alternate realities, where histories diverge and merge. Could our universe be just one of many, brushing against others like beads on a cosmic string? Take the case of the Berenstain Bears. Many who grew up with the beloved children's books are adamant the title was spelled the Berenstain Bears with an E and not A. The shift in that single vowel has sent theorists into a frenzy. Did we jump to a parallel timeline where the family of bears always had A in their name? Or consider the enduring debate over the famous movie line, "Luke, I am your father." Star Wars enthusiasts recall Darth Vader uttering these iconic words, yet official recordings state, "No, I am your father." What reality are we living in, and how did we get here? It doesn't stop with pop culture. Logos, product names, and geography seem to morph before our very eyes. Some swear the tip of New Zealand once rested to the northwest of Australia, not the southeast. Others recall a curious moment when Jif peanut butter was unmistakably labeled Jiffy. Each instance feels like a ripple from another dimension, where reality played out just a little differently. Could CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, hold the key? Some theorists believe that experiments at CERN, particularly those involving the Large Hadron Collider, have tampered with the very fabric of existence. By smashing particles together at near-light speeds, they hypothesize, scientists may have unintentionally opened portals between universes, causing our timelines to intermingle. Was humanity's leap into the quantum unknown the catalyst for these reality shifts? Skeptics point to psychology, insisting the Mandela effect is nothing more than a quirk of human memory, shaped by suggestion and social reinforcement. But for those who've experienced it, the Mandela effect feels too consistent, too widespread to dismiss. If memories are unreliable, why do they align across thousands of individuals? Is there more to these false recollections than meets the eye? Believers often invoke quantum theory to support their claims. The many worlds interpretation suggests that every decision creates a new branch of reality, spawning an infinite number of parallel universes. Could the Mandela effect be the result of these branches crossing, moments where our timeline collides with an alternate one? Or are we unwitting travelers, shunted between worlds by forces we don't yet understand? For now, the Mandela effect offers no definitive answers, only tantalizing questions. If these anomalies are indeed glimpses of a multiverse, what else lies out there, just beyond the veil of perception? Perhaps the real question isn't whether the Mandela effect is real, but whether we're ready to accept that our reality may be far more fluid than we ever imagined. Theory 7. QAnon's continued influence. Digital war in the shadows? Deep in the bowels of the internet, where anonymity reigns and cryptic messages spread like wildfire, a shadowy figure known only as Q ignited a movement that has captivated millions. QAnon, as the sprawling theory is called, purports to reveal a hidden war between President Donald Trump and a cabal of global elites involved in unspeakable crimes. Love it or loathe it, QAnon has become one of the most polarizing conspiracy theories of the modern age. It began in October 2017, when an anonymous user known as Q posted a series of enigmatic messages on the forum 4chan, claiming to have top-secret Q-level clearance within the U.S. government. Q alleged to possess inside knowledge of a battle unfolding behind the scenes. At its core, the theory centers on a secret network of powerful individuals, politicians, celebrities, and business leaders engaged in child trafficking and ritualistic practices. Q's cryptic drops hinted that Trump was not just a politician, but a chosen warrior leading an underground operation to dismantle this cabal. QAnon adherents call themselves digital soldiers, combing through breadcrumbs left by Q and piecing them into a larger puzzle. They've tracked cryptic codes, scoured speeches for hidden messages, and identified supposed symbols of allegiance among the elite. The catchphrase, "Where we go one, we go all," has become their rallying cry, a declaration of unity in what they see as a fight for humanity's survival. The scope of QAnon's claims is dizzying. Adherents believe that many of history's darkest events, wars, financial crises, even pandemics, were orchestrated by the cabal to maintain control. Celebrities and politicians, they assert, are puppets or willing participants. Some take the theory further, suggesting that the cabal's endgame involves the establishment of a global government, stripping humanity of freedom and individuality. While mainstream media and fact-checkers have dismissed QAnon as a baseless conspiracy, its influence continues to grow. During Trump's last presidency, QAnon followers analyzed his tweets, speeches, and hand gestures for coded messages. They claim he left clues, such as references to the storm, a supposed mass arrest of cabal members that would bring justice to the world. Social media platforms became a battleground for QAnon. Facebook groups, Twitter hashtags, and YouTube channels helped the theory proliferate, drawing in followers from all walks of life. Despite widespread deplatforming efforts, the movement adapted, migrating to alternative platforms and encrypted messaging apps. Canon's decentralized nature makes it difficult to extinguish. It thrives on the same internet that birthed it. Critics argue that QAnon is a dangerous delusion, a breeding ground for extremism and paranoia. But for its believers, it's a lifeline, a narrative that explains the chaos of the world and gives them a purpose. They view themselves as part of a cosmic battle between good and evil, their actions shaping the course of history. Every protest, Every social media post, every red-pilled convert is a victory against the forces of darkness. Even after Q went silent in 2020, the movement persisted. Adherents claim the lack of messages is a strategic part of the plan. They continue to analyze current events, linking them to the larger narrative. From vaccine mandates to election controversies, QAnon has woven itself into the fabric of modern conspiracy culture, evolving with each new development. Is QAnon a digital age myth, a political movement, or something more? The lines blur in this world of code words, secret signals, and cryptic messages. Whether Q is a lone troll, a group of insiders, or a psychological operation, one thing is certain. The theory has taken root, sparking fervent belief and fiery debate across the globe. Theory 8. The Great Reset. A blueprint for global control? Picture a world brought to its knees by a relentless cascade of crises. A pandemic sweeps the globe, disrupting every aspect of life. Economic systems teeter on the brink of collapse. Unemployment soars, and societies fracture under the weight of uncertainty. Amid this chaos, a powerful group of world elites steps forward with a solution: the Great Reset. They call it a new beginning, a chance to reimagine and rebuild society. But could this sweeping initiative be something far more sinister? The theories surrounding the Great Reset suggest that it's not merely a call for global collaboration, as its proponents claim, but a covert operation to centralize power, eliminate individual freedoms, and enforce a new world order. According to this belief, the elites, who are powerful figures in government, finance, and technology, are using crises like COVID-19 to dismantle the existing system and replace it with one they can control completely. At the center of this narrative is the World Economic Forum, whose annual meetings in Davos, Switzerland, have long been a gathering ground for the world's most influential people. In 2020, the WEF unveiled the concept of the Great Reset, framing it as a necessary response to the pandemic. They called for a rethinking of capitalism, emphasizing sustainability, equity, and technological innovation. To some, it sounded noble. To others, it was a chilling roadmap for global domination. The Great Reset theory posits that the elites are seizing this moment of vulnerability to push through their agenda. Imagine a world where cash is obsolete, replaced by a digital currency controlled by central banks. Private property is eliminated, with assets redistributed under the guise of equality. Surveillance technologies track every movement, every transaction, every thought. To the theorists, this isn't progress, it's enslavement. Key to the Great Reset is the idea of stakeholder capitalism, which proponents argue is a fairer alternative to traditional capitalism. But critics claim it's a euphemism for corporate control, where a small elite dictate policies under the pretense of social responsibility. The pandemic lockdowns, they say, were a test run, an exercise in compliance that conditioned the masses to accept restrictions and government intervention without question. What about the slogans tied to this vision? Build Back Better became a rallying cry for leaders across the globe. To some, it was mere coincidence. To others, it was a telltale sign of coordination, proof that a unified agenda was being orchestrated behind closed doors. The phrase, "you'll own nothing and you'll be happy," attributed to the WEF, sent shivers down the spines of skeptics. Was it a glimpse into the future, where personal freedoms are sacrificed on the altar of collective good? Detractors point to the increasing use of digital identification systems, vaccine passports, and social credit scores as steps toward this dystopian vision. These measures, they argue, are not temporary solutions to global crises, but permanent tools of control. Could the Great Reset be the ultimate Trojan horse, wrapped in promises of equality and sustainability, but hiding a blueprint for tyranny? Theory 9. Vaccine microchips. The needle of surveillance. While the world scrambled to find solutions to the COVID-19 pandemic, a darker narrative began to emerge. According to some, the vaccines were not just life-saving tools, but Trojan horses of a different kind. Embedded within them, they claimed, were microchips designed to track and control the population. What if the very thing meant to save humanity was part of a grander scheme to enslave it? The theory of vaccine microchips exploded into the public consciousness alongside the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines. Skeptics pointed to billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates as a central figure in this narrative. Gates, through his foundation, has been heavily involved in global health initiatives, including vaccine distribution. But for theorists, his involvement raised alarm bells. Why, they wondered, was a tech mogul so invested in public health? The theory suggests that Gates and other elites have developed microchips small enough to be injected via syringe. Once inside the body, these devices could transmit data about a person's location, health, and even behavior. In the wrong hands, such technology could be used to monitor dissent, enforce compliance, or restrict freedoms. Mainstream scientists were quick to dismiss these claims, pointing out that no such technology exists in the vaccines. But for many, the denials only deepened their suspicion. After all, isn't secrecy a hallmark of conspiracy? Skeptics argued that the rapid development of the vaccines was suspicious in itself. How could a safe and effective solution be created so quickly? Could the rush to vaccinate billions of people have hidden a more sinister agenda? Fueling the fire were patent filings and public statements that, taken out of context, seemed to lend credence to the theory. For example, Gates discussed the possibility of digital certificates to prove vaccination status, which theorists interpreted as evidence of a microchip agenda. Even a harmless patent number was seized upon, with critics highlighting its 666 sequence as a nod to biblical prophecy. Then there's the role of 5G technology, often linked to the vaccine microchip theory. Some believe that 5G networks, with their high-speed connectivity, are part of the infrastructure required to activate and control these supposed microchips. Imagine a world where every vaccinated individual could be tracked in real time, their actions monitored, and their decisions influenced by invisible forces. To conspiracy theorists, this isn't the future, it's the present, hidden in plain sight. Theory 10. Flat Earth 2.0. The ultimate cosmic deception? What if everything you've ever been taught about the Earth was a lie? Imagine stepping outside, looking up at the sky, and questioning the very foundations of reality. That's the unsettling premise of Flat Earth 2.0, a modern revival of an age-old belief that challenges the very core of human understanding. Proponents of Flat Earth theory claim that the globe model of Earth is a vast conspiracy designed to keep humanity ignorant of its true nature. But in the era of Flat Earth 2.0, the stakes are even higher. This isn't just about the shape of the planet. It's about power, control, and the manipulation of knowledge itself. In this version, the Earth is not a spinning sphere hurtling through the void, but a flat plane enclosed by a mysterious dome. The sky above isn't infinite space, but a carefully crafted projection, an illusion designed to fool us into submission. Governments, scientists, and educators, according to this theory, are complicit in the lie. The reason for this is to control the narrative of humanity's place in the universe. Flat Earthers argue that the deception runs deeper than anyone dares to imagine. They claim the Antarctic Treaty, an international agreement that restricts access to the continent, is evidence of a cover-up. In their view, Antarctica isn't a continent at all, but the impenetrable edge of the world, guarded to keep humanity from discovering the truth. Satellites, they assert, are an elaborate hoax, their images doctored to maintain the illusion of a spherical planet. Then there's the question of motivation. Why go to such lengths to conceal the true nature of Earth? The theory suggests it's all about control, keeping humanity in a state of ignorance and compliance. If we believe we are insignificant specks in an endless universe, we are less likely to challenge authority or seek our own truths. Flat Earth 2.0 posits that the powers behind this deception want us docile, unquestioning, and dependent on their version of reality. For those who believe, the evidence is everywhere. Discrepancies in flight paths, photographs that seem doctored, and centuries of teachings that align too perfectly with the interests of the powerful. Could the Earth truly be flat? To its proponents, the answer is a resounding yes. Theory 11. Time travelers and pop culture. Architects of history? What if the pivotal moments in human history were not shaped by chance, intelligence, or inspiration, but by time travelers? Imagine the most influential figures, politicians, entertainers, inventors, being more than they appear. According to a thrilling theory, some of the world's most powerful individuals aren't just people of their time, but architects of time itself, carefully navigating history to serve a purpose known only to them. The theory suggests that time travel isn't a far-off dream or a Hollywood fantasy. It's already here. And the evidence? It's hiding in plain sight. Start with the peculiar anecdotes and photos that surface every so often, claiming to reveal figures who seem out of sync with their era. One of the most famous is a black and white image from the 1940s showing a man in modern sunglasses, a graphic t-shirt, and what looks like a portable camera, an anachronistic figure in a sea of fedoras and trench coats. Was he just ahead of his time, or was he visiting from the future? For believers, time travel is a secret technology jealously guarded by a select few. They argue that these individuals use their temporal knowledge to nudge events in their favor. Think of the unexplained brilliance of figures like Nikola Tesla or the near-prophetic speeches of Winston Churchill. Did these individuals possess insights beyond their time? Were their actions guided by future knowledge, or even by their own future selves? Even modern celebrities aren't exempt from scrutiny. The internet teems with comparisons of current figures to their historical doppelgangers. Take the eerie resemblance between actor Nicolas Cage and a Civil War-era man in a vintage photograph. Or Keanu Reeves, whose face seems unchanged across decades, leading some to dub him the Immortal. Are these mere coincidences? Or do they hint at something more extraordinary? Then there's the question of motive. Why would time travelers embed themselves in politics, entertainment, or science? Theories abound. Some believe these figures are guardians of history, ensuring humanity doesn't stray too far from its destined path. Others suggest darker intentions, an elite cadre manipulating events to consolidate power, wealth, or influence. Perhaps they aren't even human, but agents of an advanced civilization monitoring our progress, or lack thereof. Pop culture itself may hold clues, with films, TV shows, and novels about time travel seen as more than fiction. Theorists suggest these works are soft disclosures, preparing the public for a truth too shocking to reveal outright. Shows like Doctor Who, The Terminator, and dark present time travelers as both heroes and harbingers, subtly reflecting the duality of their potential motives. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. Conspiracy theorists point to unexplained gaps or butterfly effects in history, moments when the timeline seems to shift unexpectedly. The Mandela effect, where large groups of people remember alternate versions of historical events, is cited as evidence of tampering. Could these glitches be the fingerprints of travelers rewriting history for their benefit? For believers, the ultimate question is not whether time travelers exist. It's how much of our history has been shaped by them. Are we living in a timeline carefully curated by unseen hands? Every major event a calculated step toward an unknown endgame? Theory 12. Birds aren't real. The feathered lies above us. Glance out your window and watch the birds flitting through the trees. Innocent, free, and alive, or are they? According to the bizarre, yet strangely captivating theory that birds aren't real, those feathered creatures aren't animals at all. Instead, they're government surveillance drones, meticulously engineered to spy on humanity since the mid-20th century. Yes, you read that right. Proponents of the birds aren't real movement claim that real birds were systematically eradicated in the 1950s and replaced with robotic replicas designed to monitor every aspect of human life. To skeptics, it's a satirical jab at the growing distrust of institutions. But for true believers, it's a startling truth hiding in plain sight. The theory begins with a chilling premise that governments around the world, particularly the United States, became obsessed with surveillance in the aftermath of World War II. The story goes that in 1956, officials realized the need for a more efficient way to spy on citizens, something less conspicuous than wiretaps or agents on street corners. The solution? Birds, or more accurately, machines that look, act, and fly like birds. In this narrative, the U.S. government embarked on a covert operation to exterminate real birds. By the time the 1970s rolled around, These natural creatures have been almost entirely replaced by drones capable of everything from recording conversations to facial recognition. To avoid detection, these birds were designed to mimic their biological counterparts with uncanny precision, complete with flapping wings, chirping sounds, and even fake droppings to maintain the illusion. Believers point to peculiarities in bird behavior as evidence. Why do flocks migrate en masse at specific times of the year? Could it be that they're returning to secret government facilities for maintenance and recharging? And what about pigeons, those ubiquitous city dwellers often seen perched on power lines? To the theorists, these lines aren't just resting spots, they're charging stations. The rise of 5G technology has only fueled the fire. Some theorists claim that these faster networks are not for our benefit, but for the birds. High-speed connectivity, they argue, is crucial for processing the massive amounts of data these drones collect. Every tweet, every song of a mockingbird is potentially a stream of surveillance data being transmitted to hidden servers. To bolster their claims, adherents point to historical government programs that sound like something out of a spy thriller. Operation Acoustic Kitty, a real Cold War-era project to use cats for eavesdropping, is cited as proof that officials have long been willing to experiment with animal-inspired surveillance. If robotic cats were on the table, why not birds? Critics often dismiss the theory as a joke, a piece of modern folklore meant to parody conspiracy culture. But that hasn't stopped it from gaining traction. In public protests, believers carry signs reading, "Birds aren't real," and "Wake up. The pigeons work for the government." For some, it's a playful act of rebellion against the surveillance state. For others, it's a genuine warning. The beauty of the theory lies in its simplicity. Look up and you'll see the evidence. Every bird, every shadow passing overhead could be an agent of unseen powers. It's a thought that transforms the mundane into the extraordinary, making even the simplest moment outdoors feel like a scene from a dystopian thriller. If birds truly aren't real, what does that say about the world we live in? Is the sky itself complicit in the grandest surveillance scheme of all time? The question hangs in the air, much like the creatures it accuses. Theory 13. The moon landing hoax. A giant leap into deception? July 20th, 1969. The world watched in awe as Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface, declaring it one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. But what if it was all an elaborate illusion? For decades, skeptics have claimed that the moon landing was a carefully staged hoax, orchestrated by NASA and the US government to win the space race and assert dominance during the Cold War. The theory begins with motive. In the 1960s, the United States was locked in a fierce rivalry with the Soviet Union. After the Soviets' early victories in space exploration, launching the first satellite Sputnik, and sending the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into orbit, the pressure on America to outdo their adversary was immense. Conspiracy theorists argue that landing on the moon was the ultimate symbolic victory. But if achieving it was too difficult or too dangerous, faking it might have been the next best option. For evidence, theorists point to anomalies in the footage and photographs of the Apollo missions. Take the iconic images of astronauts on the lunar surface. The American flag appears to ripple as if caught by a breeze, despite the moon's airless environment. NASA explains that the flag had a horizontal rod to hold it aloft, but skeptics remain unconvinced. Similarly, shadows in the photos seem inconsistent, as if multiple light sources were used, an impossibility on the sunlit moon. Could these irregularities be signs of a carefully crafted studio set? One of the most famous arguments is the absence of stars in the lunar sky. In all the Apollo photographs, the black expanse of space is curiously devoid of stars. NASA attributes this to the camera settings, which were optimized for the brightly lit surface and not the faint stars. But for theorists, it's evidence of a soundstage ceiling that couldn't replicate the cosmos. Then there's the Van Allen radiation belts, zones of intense radiation encircling Earth. To reach the moon, Apollo astronauts had to pass through these belts. Critics argue that the level of radiation would have been lethal, even with the spacecraft shielding. NASA, however, maintains that the brief exposure was well within safe limits. Theorists also scrutinize the behavior of dust on the moon. When the lunar module lands, it kicks up fine moon dust, but no crater is left beneath the spacecraft. NASA explains this by the low gravity and the nature of the surface material, but to skeptics, it's a glaring inconsistency. Perhaps the most provocative claim is that filmmaker Stanley Kubrick was enlisted to direct The Hoax. Known for his meticulous attention to detail in 2001: A Space Odyssey, Kubrick had demonstrated the ability to create realistic depictions of outer space. Some theorists suggest that NASA approached him to stage the moon landing, and in return, he was given carte blanche for his next projects. They even interpret certain elements of his film The Shining as veiled confessions of his involvement. And what about the astronauts themselves? The men who supposedly walked on the moon have faced relentless questioning. In 2002, Apollo 11's Buzz Aldrin famously punched a conspiracy theorist who accused him of lying. But for skeptics, such reactions only deepen their suspicions. If the landings were genuine, why not simply laugh off the accusations? For believers in the hoax, the stakes are monumental. The moon landing is a cornerstone of modern history, a symbol of human ingenuity and exploration. If it were proven false, it would not only shatter public trust in institutions, but also rewrite the narrative of an entire era. And so the question lingers, casting a shadow over one of humanity's greatest achievements. Did we truly reach the moon, or were we watching the greatest performance in history? Theory 14. Simulation theory. Are we living in a digital illusion? What if everything you've ever known, every sound, sensation, memory, and moment isn't real? What if reality itself is just an elaborate illusion, a simulation created by beings so advanced we can't even fathom their motives? Simulation theory poses this startling question, and once you fall down this rabbit hole, it's almost impossible to climb back out. The idea of simulated reality gained traction in recent years, but its roots go back to ancient philosophy. Plato's allegory of the cave suggested that human perception is merely a shadow of the true nature of existence. Fast forward to the 21st century, and philosophers like Nick Bostrom have built on this idea, proposing that a sufficiently advanced civilization might have the technological means to create a simulated universe indistinguishable from reality. In Bostrom's famous simulation argument, he posits that if such simulations are possible, it's statistically likely we're already living in one. Think about it. Video game graphics have evolved from pixelated blobs to hyper-realistic virtual worlds in just a few decades. If humanity continues advancing at this pace, who's to say we won't one day create simulations so lifelike that the simulated beings themselves won't realize they're artificial? Now imagine a civilization millions or billions of years ahead of us. Could we be their grand experiment, their cosmic entertainment? Evidence for simulation theory, while speculative, is eerily compelling. Scientists have noted peculiarities in the laws of physics that suggest an underlying code. For instance, the Planck constant and the speed of light appear to set resolutions on the universe, much like the pixel density of a screen. Then there's the fine-tuning problem. Why do the fundamental constants of physics align so perfectly to allow life to exist? To some, this suggests intentional design, an architect of the simulation. Glitches in the matrix are another curious phenomenon. These moments, when reality seems to hiccup, have been documented for centuries, but have taken on new meaning in light of simulation theory. Déjà vu, bizarre coincidences, and Mandela effect instances are all pointed to as potential errors or resets in the simulated system. Could these be signs that we're peering through cracks in the facade? The theory takes on a darker tone when considering the motives of the simulators. Are they benevolent creators nurturing their digital offspring? Or are we a cautionary tale, an experiment in morality or chaos? If simulations are the work of advanced beings, or even our future descendants, what happens if they grow bored, disinterested, or malicious? Could the simulation be shut down, erasing us in an instant? The implications are staggering. If we are living in a simulation, then the stars above, the ground beneath our feet, even the thoughts in our heads may be nothing more than lines of code. But could it also mean that death is not the end? If our consciousness is digital, Perhaps it can be rebooted, transferred, or even escaped into a new simulation. For some, this is a thrilling idea, opening doors to eternal existence and infinite possibilities. For others, it's a deeply unsettling prospect. Skeptics argue that simulation theory is unprovable and ultimately unscientific. How can you test for something when the tools you use are part of the simulation itself? Yet believers counter that this only strengthens the case. If the simulation is flawless, then its creators would naturally ensure that questioning it is futile or outright impossible. And what about the whispers of confirmation? Tech moguls like Elon Musk have famously entertained the idea, suggesting that the odds we're in base reality are 1 in billions. Meanwhile, advancements in artificial intelligence and virtual reality edge us closer to becoming creators of simulations ourselves. Could we already be part of an endless chain of simulated worlds, each nested within the other like Russian dolls? Whether viewed as a philosophical thought experiment or a mind-bending possibility, simulation theory challenges everything we think we know. Are we real? Or are we merely players on a cosmic stage? Are every move dictated by an unseen hand? Somewhere, a higher being or a highly evolved teenager might be staring at a screen, watching us ponder our own existence. As you finish this journey through 14 of the most mind-bending theories, it's time to ask yourself, which of these do you believe could be true? Could there be hidden truths lurking beneath the surface, waiting for someone to uncover them? Share your thoughts and opinions. Comment below and join the conversation. After all, the truth is out there, and you might just hold the key.